I'm back again with some more techniques for painting with alcohol ink. I have a small cup of isopropyl alcohol, and although you can't see it, I have an ink palette to my left. I'm going to start by dropping some drops of Ranger sepia ink, and I'm working on a ceramic tile. And next I'm going to drop a few drops of carmel, which is really just about a shade different, just a touch lighter. And next I'm going to use some moss. So this is Ranger moss, and it's a pretty kind of a gray green. And I'm just watching to see how far these dots move and how far the ink spreads. I'll clean my brush and come back and just get a little bit more of that sepia ink. So this is already starting to look fun and pretty, and just filling in a few more areas. And you can see I can drop the inks on top of the other ink and it'll push the other ink aside. So now I'm going to put that brush down. I'm going to make sure this is good and dry. I'm just using an ink blower and blowing air on this to dry it off. And now I'm going to grab my little container. I have a container with a needle nose, and it has a mix of blending solution, Ranger blending solution, and isopropyl alcohol in it. And we're going to start to just drip ink. So I'm going to put just a line of the blending solution alcohol mix and just watch where this ink goes. I'm just going to let it drip right down the tile. And I'm tipping the tile so that the ink drop absorbs into the paper towel, and so that it doesn't creep back up the bottom of the tile. And I'll just keep doing this, and I can also use a Q-tip to just pull the ink from the bottom of that tile. So the ink moves for a little while. And once I'm sure all the ink has stopped moving, I lay the tile down. So where do I want to go with this? I'm thinking kind of an abstract. I'm going to dry this ink because I like how it has flowed down the tile. It's fun. And I'm really going for a very earthy, organic look here. And so I'm going to get some, a little bit more ink. I want to break up this dark line. And so I'm just going to drop some ink here and there. I also don't want that line to be straight at the bottom. So I'm going to just add some more circles and watch how far the ink spreads. It's kind of meditative to just watch how far it's spreading. And for natural landscapes, even abstracts, I just love these colors together. And so now I'm adding a little bit more green. And if you are enjoying this video so far, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any other videos on tips and techniques for creating with alcohol ink. Okay, now we're going to start to drop some alcohol. And just watching how far that ink moves when I drop the alcohol. So if I drop different amounts, it's going to actually start to move further. And I'm just blowing some air out of this blower and moving that ink back. And I can control where how far the ink goes by just moving it around with that blower. And I'll just keep dropping alcohol, watching how far the ink moves back, and then hitting it with the blower. So I'm creating an abstract kind of straight landscape with a reflection. coming down through the bottom of the tile. And it can kind of get like mesmerizing just to watch how far that ink goes when we drop it with the alcohol. And it lightens that spot up, brightens it. Okay, so now I'm going to start to push that ink up the tile. And I'm getting the tip of that blower really close to the tile and moving it to push the ink up through. So you'll see I'm really kind of directing that ink with the direction I'm pushing the air in. And I'll just keep doing this until I have some interesting areas that I want something taller in the landscape. And I've decided I want some green in there too. So I'm going to drop some drops of that green ink and just blow the ink up through. Well, that created a funny shape. And so now I'll get a little bit of alcohol and blow that through and break that up to create some lightness. And when the ink's dry, it will just stop moving. Okay, so I don't like where some of the ink went, but I can take a small piece of paper towel and a little bit of my solution here, and I can really just wipe that ink right off the tile. So I can just clean this right off. So that was that first layer that I wasn't really crazy about. And I can clean some of it out here. I don't want it to be straight. And that's kind of the beauty of working on the tile. If I didn't like it, I could wipe the whole thing off. So now I'm going to use a little acrylic ink. And the reason I'm using acrylic ink is it is water-based versus the alcohol ink. And it's not going to dry as fast when I push it with air. Because I want to create some long tendrils, and I'm just using any kind of canned air is fine that you would use to clean a computer. And so I am just trying to direct this acrylic ink by using this little stylus with a tiny drop of ink on the bottom and then directing it with the canned air. So the trick with this is to use really light, gentle trigger action with that can so that you don't just blow it right off the page. And you can direct it to some extent. I'm going to do the reflection now. And sometimes it doesn't always go in the direction we want it to go. But because I've already done my tile, I'm going to be okay. This is abstract. And so there you go. So I'm thinking this would make a nice set of coasters. And I have another one that I did a little while ago, which is dry. You can see I've used the same techniques, and this one looks a lot different. And I'm just going to blow a few tendrils of this acrylic ink into the tree area, we'll call it. And again, nice little tiny drops on the end of that little stylus. And then I'll make a few reflections. So a few more techniques for you to use, whether it's in your abstract art or your representational art. So if you've enjoyed watching these techniques today, please subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss any tips or techniques in creating with alcohol ink. Thanks for watching.